this deep breathing. Um, my brand new petty.
Beautiful. Who is that?
Buddy.
Oh, hello, buddy.
We just
Beautiful
adopted him last
dog.
week. We just adopted him last week, and I guess that's kind of like part of his arriving is what I wanted to speak to you about. So 2 years ago, so here's a little back information. I've been having these visions, and I guess about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I had a vision of a golden retriever by a boardwalk with sailboats in the background. And at the time, my friend, one of my friends who I referred to you as, going through some stuff about romantic relationships. And I said, I had a vision of you on a boardwalk with sailboats and a golden retriever. And, you know, that's going to be your life partner. Like, that's what I thought the vision meant.
Right.
And then Buddy here, he belongs to a friend of mine who I haven't spoken to in a long time. And something told me, so recently I started seeing a therapist, and this therapist gave me this meditation that kind of, I guess, cleanses the chakra by chakra. And ever since I started it, I've been having daily dreams and the
Nice.
visions that are quite accurate. So so then this vision of Buddy a year and a half or 2 years ago, on the day that I got him, I decided to meet my friend who now lives, back then didn't used to live at this place, but she lives by the lake now. And then we went for a walk, and out of all the lakeside walkway, there was only a little piece of boardwalk. It's only a short distance, a few meters. The rest is cement.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I decided to sit there. And she took a picture, and then I saw in the picture there's sailboats in the back, and then there's Buddy on the boardwalk and the sailboats. So the visions kind of started. Yeah, they started recently, and they've been very accurate. But there was one profound dream that I had where, I guess it was in medieval Europe, probably France, and I was, there was dark clouds, cobblestone, gray everywhere, and people wearing black. And I felt a sense of fear around me. And I saw briefly like a manuscript with the fleur de lis, like the emblem of France. And I then realized that what was happening, which was I was being tied onto a mast of some sort. And I was then lifted, and then I was to be burned. And so they set me on fire. But at the same time, like, even though there was fear around me, I didn't feel the fear inside. Like, I felt actually at peace. And then I looked up into the sky and felt that sense of peace. And then I woke up. I woke up in sweats. And at the time, before this meditation that I started doing with the therapist, just a little over maybe 6 weeks ago, all my dreams have kind of come in nightmares, kind of like this, where I wake up sweating. And when I woke up, the words Joan of Arc came out of my mouth. And at the time, I didn't know who she was because I was not aware of the saints and everything. And I actually spoke to the same friend who is a Catholic, and she told me that that's how Joan of Arc died.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, okay, whatever, it's just a random occurrence. So it wasn't years later until I found this therapist who gave me this meditation. And now that I'm having these daily dreams and these visions that are very accurate, but I have no control over them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like in my dream, it told me to, like, it was October and we were having a warm October, and I took all my plants out, and they told me to take all the plants in 3 days because we're going to get a drop of temperature. And I thought, oh, this is silly. but like it happened. And it's
Yeah.
like, I had an inclination to call my friend, and then he's like, I'm actually giving Buddy away and I need someone to take him because I can't take care of him. So I was like, I'll take him because I can't let Buddy just, be given away. And even I had an inclination to call a friend, and it turned out that day that I called her, she found out she had a miscarriage. So I'm kind of juggling with this. In the beginning, I was like just brushing it aside as if this is just, it's not anything. And then what my therapist is saying that, well, this is a gift that, you can use to help people. Anyway, the point is, long-winded story. So then, I have this so-called gift, and I'm not quite sure I'm ready to share it to everyone. Although this is being recorded, I'm gonna probably cache this because I'm not quite sure how to, like, there's that, but then there's also sometimes my fears get meddled in, and I'm not sure if it's a fear or it's a vision. And that's kind of disturbing for me because
Mm.
recently I had fears whom I thought were visions, but they were not. And I went through kind of a crisis because, the visions have been so accurate. So my fear like came in and intercepted, and I thought it was a vision, and I thought it was and it wasn't until I confronted that fear that I realized that I had nothing to be fearful of. So so then, like, like I'm coming here because I'm trying to, like, I told my therapist that, I wasn't interested in therapy per se. I'm more interested in spiritual counseling. And then when we opened that channel up, this thing came in, and what I was asking was to get to know myself. And I guess this is it. So so there's that, because I have questions about, so last year it was mainly about my career, and you really helped me just launch, and that's what I did. And so far it's, it's not smooth sailing, but I'm doing pretty well, I would say. um, and and then I said, you know what, why had I, just completely been so into that focus about the career thing. But then when Buddy came along, I realized there's more to life than just work. He's helped me get away. Whenever I'm typing and then I'm here too long, what he does is he takes his head and then slaps my hand out of the computer. So for the first time, since COVID happened, I started playing like a child again, running around. My body's actually so sore as we speak
Mm.
because he's um he's been tiring me out. And he's a 12-year-old dog, but he still acts like a little puppy.
Wow. He's a sweetie.
He jumps in the river because we live right beside the Humber River. He's tired out now. That's why he's not rambunctious, because he's had his fair share of play and lots of food. He's spoiled. Um, yeah, so he's getting I'm trying to give him the best of, however long he has left here. And
Yeah.
it's kind of kicked in a motherly instinct inside of me that was not that is being cached. I was telling my friends, both Therese and Janessa, who actually just left my house, that um, when I was a child, I never wanted to play with the other boys. Like I've always wanted to be a Disney princess. Like I like to play in the castle, and I wanted to cook with the plastic pots and plates and become like a mother. And then all of a sudden, that's been, life happened. And it wasn't until he came along that I'm kind of having that kind of like dream come back, because, being the oldest and being immigrants to this country, like I had to take on a lot of responsibilities for my siblings. My
Yes.
brother is 7 years younger, and my sister's 15 years younger. And now that my parents are getting older, I'm kind of feeling that, they're going to need me more and more. So I'm trying to figure out how to balance my own dreams of, wanting to have that life, not to be maybe too princess, but
Why not?
yeah,
I
you
mean, but think about what a princess is, right? So is a princess belongs to itself, right? There's lots of different versions of princesses, but regardless of what kind of princess it is, whether it's a very jeweled and refined kind of princess, or whether it's a princess who's got like scraped knees and their hair is everywhere and like they've got like straw sticking out of their velvet gown, right?
more like the latter, like
Yes,
Pocahontas.
yes. So regardless, the princess always has a sense of what is precious
Yeah.
to them about themselves. That's what the archetype of a princess
Yes.
is, right? And so that's nothing to downplay, that's pretty important, I would say,
Thank you so
right?
much for acknowledging that because I feel so silly. Like I'm
But
like
it isn't.
like
It isn't.
isn't my inner child like
And
asking?
the other thing about the princess is, and this is important for you to just kind of consider, is the princess is not responsible for the kingdom, right? That's the job of the queen or the job of the king. The princess is just responsible for the princess's self.
Right.
That's important. You don't have
Right.
to be the ruler of things. And so as you navigate this sense of responsibility, right, and what that means, you will be much more successful and fulfilled if you remember to let whatever responsibility you take for the people around you outside come from the way you are responsible to yourself on your insides. And that's what Buddy is for. Because, Buddy is all about feeling, right? And just the energetic quality in the space between you and him. And, when he bats your hand away from the computer, he's telling you that you've gotten away from what's actually precious to yourself about you because you've gotten away from what he finds precious about you, which is your attention, right?
Wow.
And your affection. That's what's important. That's what's precious, is your attention to yourself, the way you attend to yourself, right? Royalty, they have gentlemen or ladies in waiting, right? All around them to attend to their needs. That's another way of thinking about that word attention, right? Is attending to that most precious part of yourself. And
Thank you.
it's interesting that you're grappling with how to work with this gift, and do you want to move it into the public yet or not, or what does it mean, or all of those things, because I just took a look at some of your long-term astrology transits, because I just kind of had a sense that maybe something was up. And you've got like 3 pretty heavy ones that are going to be with you until the spring at least, right?
Okay.
Which is really, in some ways it's very reassuring, because it means that you are in the midst of quite a large process and you are not under any pressure to solve anything today or tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, right? Like you're not, because when we start to feel like an internal crisis of any kind, our ego just immediately wants to solve it because it doesn't like to be in discomfort. But or and some of these transits, that you're experiencing at the moment are by nature uncomfortable. They just are. And when you encounter that sense of internal discomfort, that's actually a sign to you that you are right in it. You're right in your process. And none of these processes, although they're challenging, none of them are negative or bad in any kind of way. What they are is utterly transformational. Like when you move through this period of things, come spring, you are really not going to be the same person that you were before. And how that unfolds is really, in a sense, up to you, and the amount of space and kindness and compassion that you can create for your inner princess, right? To continue to be, a central facet of your experience as you're moving forward over the next little while.